All right, welcome guys. Another night in the North American Online League. Today we are looking at the first game, Rainy Duan versus Xylix. A very nice picture. Okay, so Rainy has submitted quite a brilliant move to the Brilliant Moves contest, so we're very excited to see how Rainy does. Rian, Riani, hope I didn't butcher the name. Anyways, let's begin. Okay, fairly normal. So this move, this attachment is one thing that is much more common nowadays than before, and it strikes at a key theme of Go. So this move, whereas before we have seen many players play this sliding move with the knight's move on the second line, and now we see this attach on the third line much more. The underlying theme is you want to play tight rather than loose. And when you play tight, you put more pressure on the opponent, so the opponent cannot tanuki as easily. And so this kind of more forceful play is entering the um, you know the mainstream of Go, so to speak. Okay, these are all very reasonable, and here you will see black plays this Hane again. If black were to play here, the Hane would come, and that's another example of the tight play. Um, okay, and now if black were to Tanuki, I would recommend Tanukiing right now, earlier rather than later, just because the Hane and double Hane is just, oh, it's about as severe as it was with just two stones, and so with three stones you don't really gain anything. So I'd recommend a follow up now if we do follow up. But okay, no big deal. Okay, and this pincer is very reasonable, very reasonable. And now, normally black would play a counter pincer, something like this, and start this fight against white in this left-hand side. Right now, white has made several moves on the upper side with a wall, so this may not be so preferable for black. But then again, if black were to just play something um, slow, like the attach, something conservative, um, that is conservative. So let's see if black decided to pincer, and if so, how. Black decided to play here. Okay, very reasonable. I'm sure if you guys who are watching are memorizing Josekis, this move is a AI Joseki. This move is a pre-AI Joseki. Both of these are okay, and in this case, this knight's move pincer is it's safer than those two, so this makes a lot of sense. It's safer because black has a more readily available backdoor right here, and it sort of forces white. If white wants to fight, it forces white to block in this area. So it's closer to the reinforcements in the form of those two stones. So this makes perfect sense. Okay, so white separates and black plays the two space extension. So now the game is going into a complicated middle game fighting sequence. Um, One thing to point out, guys, if you guys are not sure about any Josekis or when a Joseki is done and you should Tanuki, things like that, a very good rule of thumb is the weakest group principle, as we have discussed earlier in the past, and that is if the weakest groups on the find the weakest group on the board and then play there. So in this case, two of the weakest groups on the board are the black group over here and then the two white stones over here, and maybe the two space extension stones here. So all the weaknesses are concentrated on the lower left corner. Therefore, the next move should be in the lower left corner. And so in other words, this Joseki or this fighting sequence is not finished. So whenever you guys are in doubt, this is a very good rule of thumb to determine, whether the Joseki has ended, and secondly, to determine where you should be playing next. Okay, so no surprises given our analysis that fighting continues over here. This is a very good technique used by Black in this respect. Right now, Black is in a little bit of trouble. There are two groups here, and taking care of both groups is a little bit difficult. And in this kind of a situation, you would rather take care of both groups separately and keep them away from each other as much as possible. So if black were to run into the middle like this, that is not preferred, because whenever white plays, something like a attacking move out, white would be attacking both groups at the same time. Therefore, this gives white more efficiency. Um, Something like this could follow. And so if you take care of your groups separately, such as these moves, say you make a living shape here, and then when white moves out, white will only be attacking one of your groups. And so that's the power of taking care of your groups separately. You don't want your weaknesses to sort of converge together on the board. Okay, so that kind of theory is all by the time you reach the Dan levels, this kind of theory is definitely something that you would be exposed to. And okay. And so black is following this. However, black ends up not having enough space to make two eyes totally. And when white attacks like this, black is again forced to run out. Okay. So therefore, black's problems have come back, and the two problems are converging after all. Okay. Now black did Tanuki with this move and gained a big move on the other parts of the board. So let's see if white is able to punish. Okay, this is a very good technique by black. Is using this potential sacrifice in order to sort of, give white a little bit of a profit in this local vicinity in the form of the two stones, and then black can run away with the main group. So very good plan. Beforehand, of course, if black did not Tanuki and instead lived here, that would be also another way to go. And so this Tanuki can be thought of as a very aggressive, aggressive uh, tactic strategy. Okay. Okay, and then white also plays a very nice move. So the thinking is, if black extends out, white would still cut, and it's white wants to capture the two stones and cut the main group at the same time. So I expect black to exchange this Atari and then capture this one stone and maybe keep fighting this way. Okay, now when this Atari happens, white may Atari on the inside, and this kind of a big exchange could also happen. So let's see what black chose in the game. Extend out. Okay. Okay. and the same plan is being followed through. Now, this is similar, except we don't have this nice turn exchange, so it's maybe not totally perfect, but maybe black was afraid of that cut variation that we saw earlier. So um, right now, white also has a choice because that exchange again was not made. It could be very attractive for white to cut off these two stones on the inside and just give black a overly burdened Tanuki, which is not bad for white. So something like this could also be very attractive for white to play. So in the game white extended, this is perfectly reasonable as well. Black may Atari once and then capture this, and the fighting will continue. Very exciting. Okay, connect this one. Okay, another move here that's possible if black wants to go down this route is to push here. If white blocks, this is Sente. Um, Black has fixed the capture in Sente, and then black can do some other stuff. And if white connects here, um, black has another push and cut potential. So that's another thing black may do. If you just capture, um, that is also an option. It's just that later when you Atari like this or Atari like this, white may be able to pull off something like give up one more stone and then fighting the Ko to continue. So this is indeed exactly what happened in the game. White is overall surrounding black. However, this is a double-edged surround as white stones here is also very short on liberties, and this fighting is very sharp and very double-edged and very nice to see. Okay, so this cut now white has to save the four stones somehow, and Atari at the same time as is the very reasonably efficient way to save the four stones, because if you just save the four stones, somehow black may be able to capture the side stone. So now black has another choice: extend and then fight this way, or Atari underneath and simply survive here. Um, a hard choice to pull off. In times like this, sometimes it is a good idea to make some exchanges. For example, if black could get these moves against white's corner, start a Ko here perhaps. This could be very another powerful way to play. White has some counterplays, of course, so it's hard for it's hard for black to decide on exactly what to do in the corner. So this extend out is the most aggressive move and probably the strongest move here. So now black is really committing himself to capturing something on the way to life, which is the uh, most preferred way to live. It's like it's almost as if black was baiting white into trying to capture, and then just to play this counter attack. Okay, so now black extending his sente, so these three stones, despite white connecting earlier, seems to be in a lot of trouble. This is almost for sure going to be a success for black capturing the outside three stones like this. In the game, black played this Hane. Still, it's difficult to see how white is going to do this. Just a simple Atari will end up like having this cut for black. So still very hard fighting for white. In the game, white played here, and then another Hane. So now black basically accomplished the original goal of not only surviving but also capturing and making territory. So major success by black. So now white comes over here trying to capture this group. Makes perfect sense. This is the after suffering a big major loss. Um, this is a place where white can potentially gain a lot. So now would be another good time to probe this white corner. Um, um, you know, just maybe you can get this moving Sente, and then this Hane Connect would be Sente, and you would have a Sente I. And this would be a way to sort of make your job of surviving easier by first counter threatening your opponent, much like how black survived on the bottom side by capturing white. Okay, so in this game, black decides to attach out, and here, guys always try to break out towards the weaker side. So not on the bottom, because the bottom is very, very strong. Um, break out towards the top because it is less strong. Okay. However, even though the top is less strong, it is still quite strong. So when at this juncture, it seems like black has no way to break out. A noticeable path to life is to play here, threaten to capture these two white stones. White would play something like this, and then black can play this ko and capture some stones for eyes. And if white connects, you can cut. Okay. So in the game, black Atari'd and then played this one. Um, this will still likely be good enough to work just because even though black is not capturing the two white stones, black can still break out like this. So I think this will still be feasible. But for sure, just playing here and then capturing two stones would be much superior to making the Atari first. Okay, and here's another part where um, so this Atari now has a potential to save the D13 stone from being played. And so imagine if this something like this happened, D13 is not played and saved. Saving a move is very good. And so if black connects now, later, even when black wins the ko somehow, D13 stone would be used, would be wasted. So whenever you guys
Yeah,
can get a,
I'm in
um,
this the meeting.
whenever you guys
Yeah,
can get a, play your Sentes, right now the Satari is very likely to be Sente. Um, when you're in danger, it is also where a lot of your Sentes um, that's also the opportunity to exchange a lot of your Sentes. So don't miss these opportunities like this one. For example, if the bottom looks like this, then when you're under attack, this kind of a move, Sente making an eye, um, or if you are if white is really committed to capturing you and you can block in Sente, and then you can play this move in Sente, make sure you do that before you live, because you're taking the you're taking a lot of value, whereas imagine if you already lived like this, and then um, later you play this move, white is not gonna block you, for example, right? So then white's corner would be totally safe, but if you were able to exchange this extend first, you could then capture white, and of course, this makes a big difference. So here's another example. Get this Atari before you have to connect, and then you can make this cut, and then you can counter capture white. Of course, so that would force white to fight the code with you now. And in this case, if you win the code, then you can save your D13 connecting move. Yeah, so um, especially when you're under attack, a lot of your um, small moves become sente moves, which means they become, it's an opportunity for you to get a lot of the values that you wouldn't normally be able to get. And so that's a very, very powerful idea. And hope you guys take away just one important thing going forward. Okay, so this Connect um, had an opportunity to play the other Atari first. Okay, so this co ended up being fought. Let's see the results of the co. Um, the other thing with the co's is that this kind of a throw in that loses you, 4 or 5 points, um, maybe more than 5 points, is a losing co thread. Um, so for sure, you always want to play these co threads the last, and secondly, you probably don't want to play them at all. If you are gonna lose the co anyway, then you have lost your 4 or 5 points for free. If you were gonna win the co anyway, you also have lost 4 or 5 points for free. So this kind of a co thread is only gonna be played if you just need that one additional co thread. So in other words, it's almost never the case. So try to not play these. Instead, we can threaten with a smaller co-threat, such as trying to capture white's corner. Another thing could be over here with the Hane, and if you can capture these two stones, um, may or may not be able to capture these two stones. Certainly, if you got a peep, then Hane and stuff. So um, this kind of a losing coast threat is almost always losing for free, and um, and if anything, they should be the last coast threat being played. Okay, so in the game, Black is trying very hard to win the ko, and now Black has won the ko. However, White's threat here is also very severe. Saves white stones and black's inside cornerstones are very much in danger. So here, again, remember, if you were going to win the ko anyway, play the non-losing ko threats, because if you were going to win, then you have lost your points for free. Never lose your points for free. Okay, so this was very successful by white, and here white plays it safe, defends the corner, forces black to live with 2 eyes. So this middle game fighting has been very successful for white. Basically forced black to live in uh, very small two groups, and still this outside 6 black stones is under severe attack. Okay, and this is also good technique by white. White wants to, instead of fighting over the black weaknesses, white wants to make it not a fight, but rather a foregone conclusion. What we mean by that is, so white is gonna engage with black over here, and then when black plays something like this, white's gonna engage with black there, and then after a while, the battle is being fought over the lines, over the other lines, and so after a while, these 6 stones will perish without white having actually fought the battle or tried to capture. And so this is very advanced and good technique here. Okay, let's see if black is able to counter. Okay, okay. So now white extends, putting more pressure against black's corner. So right now it's very, very dangerous for black now. If black keeps responding to, things like this one, the danger of this entire middle becoming um, a foregone conclusion is very, very real. Okay, and so this is what White's trying to do. Very good technique. Engage with your opponent along the lines of contact on the other fronts. So this other part becomes a foregone conclusion. Okay. And here's another very good technique, example of this technique in action. White is fighting over this corner territory for black. And okay, so an exchange is made, and black captured 3 stones, and white got the corner in cente. And now white is coming back to fix his middle. So much better played by white in the middle game. So very good job by White. And here you can see because the lines of contact is all over, along the outside edges. Um, After a while, this middle became totally white, and uh, the middle territory will not be fought over. So very good job by White. So we expect this game to end in with White winning by a significant margin. This game ended with White winning by 50 points, and mostly because White um, engaged with Black. Look at the lower right corner. Black got a few points. Upper right, White got almost as much as Black did. Minimal exchanges of territory on the other ends of the board. And then the middle is entirely white, which is 10, 20, 30, 40, 40 points plus in the middle. So this is how white was able to um, really um, win the middle game fighting. Um, so very well done by white. Okay, I think we are okay. So overall, very good fighting from both sides. A lot of the middle game fighting was quite not only quite reasonable, almost played at a very high quality. Um, so black took a very risky tanuki here with 2 weak groups here. And then in the ensuing fight, Black succeeded in living through capturing. So very good job. However, here in taking care of this other group, Black was unable to play very precisely when Black most needed to. And this Atari was a major missed opportunity. Instead, Black played one move, one connect that was one tempo, one step slow, and that step ended up costing Black a lot. So in this case, probably the better thing to do is to answer the threats and then come up with some threat yourself and allow white to capture this group while black gets compensation elsewhere. Of course, um, that throw in of a co-threat is again very uh, losing. Um, okay, so congrats to White, showing very good technique strategy, and Black fought was fighting very effectively, especially in the beginning as well. So um, good job, good job on both sides. Just remember, when you are attacking, be careful of your own weaknesses. For White in the first fight over here, and then in the second fight, when you're defending, make sure you're playing as efficiently as possible. And um, when you're defending your group or making your group alive, a lot of these sentes that you don't normally um, you normally are not able to get suddenly become reachable or uh, grabbable, and make sure you almost always have to grab those centes in order for you to have a very successful defense of your group. You could easily imagine something similar to the bottom happen if something like this happens. Um, okay, so in the game, black played very heavy and white took a very good opportunity to start a co, and black didn't answer a very big co threat. Um, and yep, and then white really played a very good strategic game. Okay, good job on both sides. Next we have
Thank you, Michael.
Dizo. Welcome. Um, Andy first. So Andy and Cologne here. Um, okay, these two players. Starting off with this old Joseki that we started off the last game with. So this is a very old school kind of way to play. Um, Nowadays, again, people prefer this tighter move. By the way, the last game we saw a lot of tight moves, very forceful, very hard engaging, tight fighting moves, which is very good. Um, very good. Okay, old school. Okay. Um, okay, this is a complicated Joseki. White decides to play it simple, very reasonable. Okay, so this is a Joseki. Usually, when black is able to ladder this stone, it's generally favorable for black. Now, in this case, white may have some good ladder, ladder, ladder breakers. That's another matter. So white plays it simple, something like a big capture of the ladder stone is advisable here. Let's see if black played something similar. Okay, very reasonable. Um, all the moves are being played in large areas of the board. Okay, okay. This is a very aggressive invasion. Um, However, in this case, especially after black played this corner move, um, inviting fighting, inviting the danger. Okay, let's see. So black jumps. Another move may have forced white to live in the corner. I think that would have been preferable. Um, with the jump, it all comes down to whether white is able to connect underneath with this move. If black has a good way to cut white, it would be good for black. If there's no effective way to cut, it would be good for white. So let's see what happened. All right, so this is not a cutting variation. So basically, the two cutting variations are hanaying one of the two sides. This one is a complicated one, but it seems to favor black. And here is a case where the laddered stone really is providing a lot of strength for the black shapes. This seems like this will favor black. Um, okay, so this hane would be good. The other cut is this way. This way seems like it would be slightly good for white. So um, okay, and in the game, black decided not to go for a cut variation, and so this is gonna favor white somewhat because white invaded and was not cut. So in this respect, the jump would be a little bit worse than the straight up, um, um, this iron pillar kind of shape, where there's no chance that white can connect underneath. Now, and sooner or later white is going to have to make two eyes. And therefore something like a Kasumi over there is more advisable. Where this one, if you were to jump, you definitely want to follow up with a cutting variation like this one. Um, and this is basically um, black living and the white not being able to make two eyes. Um, Perhaps the only way is to play there and then here, and then black can cut like this or hunt it like this. Okay. Um, okay, so now white lived and took Sente. Okay, very powerful way to play. And this move, approaching this corner, is a very aggressive move. This move is often played by the AI nowadays and recommended. In this particular case, Black had just played this extra press along with the original knight's move here. Yes, this may give Black a little bit too much strength in this local area. Um, I would be worried as White of a pincer, especially because of this. The lower left is another group to worry about. So here, my first instinct was for White to make this kind of a uh, extension. If you want to be safe, of course, something smaller. However, this is a very aggressive move, and if the aggressive moves are not punished, they are more effective than the normal moves. So in this game, black pincers and then a big fight continues. Um, as of right now, white does have two weak groups. However, white has destroyed a lot of black territory. Okay, okay. Now white proceeds to take care of the bottom groups. This is very, very good technique. When the rule of sum for taking care of your groups is making 10 points with your group, and if you can't make 10 points, then of course you make as much as possible. And as many points as possible is generally involves, pushing your opponent back as much as possible, and that generally involves an attachment. And so this is a very good attachment for white, played by white here. And with this, white tenukis one more time. Um, Very good way to play. Um, Tanuki is a very strong way to play. The only thing is, now if you imagine that black surrounding white, forcing white to live here, is very likely to be Sente, then you'd probably want your Tanuki stone to be a little bit farther away from this strong black shape. And just imagine just imagine if black is surrounding and white lives, and now black can continue to invade the left-hand side uh, as an invade with an attack against the two white stones. That's the only thing we want to tweak there. However, white plays another move on the outside, very strong. So this is an example of the what we talked about last time. When your group is under attack, sometimes you have the opportunity to play Sente moves. In this case, this outside jump is a Sente move, threatening to save white by connecting. And as a result, white has strengthened the outside first. And if he still lives in the corner, then white has, gained the outside move in Sente. And this Sente would not exist after white lives. There's no reason for black to play here now. So best to take your Sentes while they are Sente, and threatening to live and threatening to take care of your groups is a very strong, is a very um, is very conducive to Sentes. Here, um, because because black has attacked white and then generally has very strong shapes now, it is very important for black to be attacking, invading and attacking at the same time. White has Tenukid several times, so it's very important when black plays in this area to be playing some kind of an attack with the invasion. Um, when you're stronger, you want to mutually destroy and sort of um, counterattack. Another way to go is to first see what an attack on the lower right can do for you. That's another way to play. But if black is just gonna reduce white's territory and then defend like this, this is gonna be white surrounding way too much territory. It's one thing if black is weak on the other parts of the board, but right now black is not weak on the other parts of the board, so White is very happy taking a lot of territory. White would have been very worried about, this invasion now. Um, these two groups are, Black is also surrounding White while Black invades. Same as this invasion on this side, attacking the three stones. Um, just imagine something like a mutual jump out where white is surrounding the top territory, black is surrounding the white group. Um, okay, in this middle, black is playing very safe, and that is not um, um, playing safe while your stronger is playing slow. Right now, for white to play safe, because white is generally weaker on this board, it is therefore advised for white to play safe. And the safest thing is to play this endgame in this corner and make an alive group and take the territory in the form of this endgame. Um, Another risky play is to keep surrounding the territory. In the game white jumped, this is not advisable because this is inviting black to try to capture this group, and since black is strong on the outside, this is um, white is in some real dangers here. And also, as black, you don't want to be surrounding the big middle territory because the what looks to be a big middle territory, when you go surround it, is going to be smaller and smaller, and and it's not going to end up very big at all. What you do want to do is like the last game, you want this fight to be on the outskirts. For example, if something like this happened and you are capturing the three stones, then when white proceeds to go into your middle, you make the fight um, on the outskirts um, of on the outskirts of the contact points, and then you can accomplish the big swallowing of the weakest stones there. So black wants to do whatever you can to create some kind of a separated white group. And so this corner is one. If black is able to cut through, this is another one. Um, in this game, black plays this Hane. This Hane is a bigger move than this jump in terms of territory, just because the jump is in the middle. However, another very big move territorially in this corner with a Hane is also quite good, and this one also takes away white's ice space. So, okay. And now black comes in here trying to make something out of white's inside. Unfortunately, this is a little too late. After the reduction moves earlier, white is basically has this pretty safe. Now black has an opportunity to live in a small group in this corner, but black is judging correctly that this is not enough. Of course, white could have done something more aggressive to prevent that. Okay. Uh, okay. So now this with this option gone, the only last option is to try to capture this white group on the lower right. Okay. Black went for the cutting capture. Okay, and this cut is very powerful. Unfortunately, succeeding in the capture would also be failing in the capture in this case, because um, this middle territory is not likely gonna be enough for black to win the game. Um, yeah, even this large territory is not enough to win the game because of how big white was able to surround earlier. Okay, so in the game, another slow move with this capture. This will allow white to jump into the middle and further reduce. And here we really see the effect of reduction moves on the big center moyo. Okay, white makes a small mistake getting the stone cut off. However, this middle territory ends up being reduced to just this half over here and this half over here. Um, and unfortunately, this will not be enough territory for black. Okay, also expect white to come out ahead by a significant amount in this game, 24 points. Okay. So even though in the last attack, black succeeded in the goal of cutting white, however, succeeding also ended up being um, failing because capturing 1/3 of the group was not enough. Here was a major opportunity. Again, whenever you have a um, strong positions, always look for this kind of a cut instead of trying to surround by pushing your opponents outwards. Okay, always look to cut your opponent from the source instead of trying to, keep the invaders out. Okay. Mm, okay. So for white, the only thing is this jump may have been somewhat unclear, and a different move such as living in place with this honey would have saved white a lot of troubles, a lot of headaches. For black, definitely look to use your thickness in the fighting. Um, uh, okay, let's just see a little bit. Yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, look, see, so black did find this cut later. Unfortunately, black already spent an extra move in the middle, so it made this cut less and less severe. Okay. Um, Another example is if you do want to, um, play here, make sure to capture this one stone and then get a bigger territory instead. Okay. Otherwise, a very good job by black in many areas. It's just that we moved a little bit too slow in the attacks, and then we allowed white to move into the middle. But we can clearly see that in this game, when it came down to the middle game fighting, black was able to execute the plans that black came up with, and so this is indicative of very good fundamentals in terms of having very good fundamentals for the game. So um, we'll win the next one. Good luck. Yeah, just a little bit too slow in the middle game. Okay, and here we come to our last game. Uh, Angel versus Mr. Alond. A 9Q versus a 2Q. Assuming that both players are around 2Q. Very good, very reasonable Josekis at this point. This inside attach I have not seen. Usually the attachment is on the start point, and then there is this inside cut. It's a very similar Joseki to this outside Hane. This inside, the only thing we are afraid of is white playing the start point. Black is only gonna be able to get a ko in this corner, and if we're not able to win the ko, this is very, very thick shape for white. Now, okay, let's see. So this did indeed happen. Okay. Um, yeah, right now, because white would be so strong after capturing the ko, I'd probably recommend a Tanuki right now for playing on the upper side. Um, yeah, this way, white and black spends the same amount of moves on this corner. Black should be a little bit better, and this is probably the way to go. Okay, um, okay. So black answered, and then black is gonna use the coast threads on the upper right, I imagine. This one, okay, okay. It was deemed big enough. Okay. All right. So basically, we have come back to this position. Probably black wants to answer one more move just because black has some coast threads related to this push, and then maybe this attach or this attach. Um, okay, let's see what happened later. Yeah, this is a very strong way for whites to play. The only way to save this one stone from this and the three stones from this is to play here. I'm not sure if black is able to come up with this one. Black did come up with this one, so very good job here. Unfortunately, if white just plays a simple continuation like this, this is probably slightly good for white locally. Um, okay, okay. So something simple was played. Okay, okay. However, overall, black probably is not very far behind here. Um, this is an overall fairly acceptable result. Okay, okay. So on the upper left, black probably has a little bit of an upper hand, same amount of stones, same number of stones. On the lower left, again, white has one less stone, and it seems about even. Imagine if white spent one more move here. White seems a little bit better here. So overall, slightly favorable for white. But at this level, we are well. At any level, this kind of slightly good, slightly bad situation is not going to make a big difference. So here, very interesting. Some exchanges there, and white plays here, trying to do a very big surround. Now remember, because we mentioned white spent one less move than black in the lower left. Black spent 10 stones, white spent 9 stones. The lower left is not very safe for white. Just imagine some exchanges like this, and all of a sudden white has some pressure. So because of this, um, I'd recommend white to make a more defensive move, something like this one. Okay, so in the game, this squeeze is played, and here because black's corner is so strong, I think white should try as best as white can to play, put as much pressure on the outside as possible rather than the inside. So rather than extending probably this Hane, just because this prevents black from being able to play this Hane, um, and then this Hane as well, and then so black plays here. For example, this move would be Sente for the two stones, whereas in the game, if the same thing has happened, this move would not be Sente for the two stones. Okay, so a case where if you want to have your move do as much as it can, you want to steer it towards the where your opponent is relatively weak, and you want to play far away from your opponent's strengths and as close as possible to your opponent's weaknesses. So when you have a choice, choose to play the Hane um, rather than the extend. Now, of course, if black's corner is much weaker, then this situation would be the opposite, and maybe you would even want to Hane in the corner. It all depends on the relative strengths of your opponent's positions here. Okay, so because white extended, highly recommend this Hane and this Atari sacrifice technique. Notice how because white extended there, this one stone is now totally wasted. Okay, um, okay. Black comes back to this point anyway, so it's all about the same. And now you see that when white played this knight's move, white's grand plans of the lower position is all being destroyed, and now every move that white makes running with this group is going to be sandwiched in between black's position and black's very strong corner, and this is not a good situation. And not only does it mean that black is going to have an easy time settling the lower middle group, it also means that white's group itself is going to have very few counter-attacking chances against the left-hand side. Okay. Now, so for the same reason, we would like to see black play where the weaknesses are instead of where the strengths are. And this is normally a very nice, normal looking move. It's just that black's corner is totally fine now. And so instead of this one, instead of the knight's move, you'd rather see a cut up shape like this where black can work on surrounding white, can work on attacking the upper left, and so on, rather than this one move. And of course, because black is a bit weak in the middle, we'd rather see white trying to push towards the strengths and black taking care of this. Now this will free up black to play some other big moves, like here, like this Atari, and so on. Okay, so now white is, jumping in the right direction. Okay, okay. Very reasonable. Black is making his weakest group, her weakest group, very, very strong. Very good job. So here, it is a very good time to test out white's weaknesses of the bottom area. And any move here that black makes is going to be reinforcing this group, and white's looking to cut white's one stone over here, and you can see black forming a big um, space here. Another good big area is here. This turn is another good move. So black is displaying some very nice, very good sense of what where the big areas are. Another big area is here. Okay, so very good. Very good. The Satari sort of eyes the weaknesses over here. Another thing, of course, is to play this Hane. Okay. Um, okay. Okay. A conservative one space knight's move. Perfectly okay. Right now, black is sort of not looking for conflict here. Okay. Um, and this is fine because white has just made two um, reinforcement moves that didn't make any territory, but rather the only function here is making white's shapes stronger. So white is no longer very weak. Now, suppose white has played somewhere else, like for example here, and then suppose white the situation is like this, then black does not want to play a safety move like that. Then black wants to, um, you know, uh, interact with white's weaknesses more. Then okay, okay, okay. This is a good job by white. Instead of letting black strike at white first, white is striking out at black first. um, a very good idea. The only thing it will be afraid of is a counterattack by black, and this is going to be very strong. You either give up 3 stones or you give up the 2 stones on the bottom like this. Of course, this is a well-known Joseki, and in this case, black can extend. Okay, like this. So this is what white is afraid of, but maybe white can have something else. So that's the a counterattack is the only thing that would make this kind of an attack bad. In the game, black did not counterattack, but instead went back to take care of black's group. Now, if we had foreseen that we would play this jump, if white started attacking us, then of course it would not be difficult for black to say, okay, I can reinforce the middle position in Sente, and therefore these two moves would be easy to come up with, right? Including the next moves, and then we can do whatever we wanted to do. So another case where if we were able to foresee this, then we could have done the right thing of fixing first in Sente. Right now, this is a big game by white, and here white played another 2 Sentes. This is probably too much, but from the way that this fight was going, seems like black would um, keep defending this cut. And now with this Hane, not only does white surround more points, black surrounds less points, and black has some weaknesses. So this is in the middle of the game where white is beginning to make some progress against black. Just remember the other variations had black, black stones over here, threatening to cut the outside white stone. Now nothing can be cut, and white has 7, 8 more points. Black has like 5 points less. So all this was achieved because white took the initiative, um, and it's sort of like white got a double Sente here. Okay. Um, Okay, and white was further able to force black to make another self, purely defensive eye-making move. So I'm sure, looking back, black would regrets not playing that jump peep, extend peep. At least those two moves would have helped tremendously. Okay. So black had a pretty good position after the bottom, counter-attacking against white's position and so on, and getting the Sentes to play the middle turn, the F18 Atari, the left-hand side at C11. Black was able to play all those big moves, likely bringing the game into black's favor, but then the defensive fighting in the middle here is again swinging the game closer and more back back into balance, and if not, totally back into white's favor. Okay, so not much more happened after in this game. So now notice how black was basically able to make two eyes over here on the lower side. If black could make two eyes there, then all the middle defensive moves, starting with this jump, this jump, this Kosumi, these extra moves, this one, and then this block, all these moves could be skipped if black would be able to live on the bottom anyway. And so in that sense, when black is under pressure like here, it is a very good time. If you're gonna protect yourself anyway, you might as well play all these Sente moves that you had before. Play this one. Of course, here you're just being threatened with one stone, so it doesn't matter. And black is threatening next to play this Hane connecting Sente, bringing yourself to 5-6 points and taking away white's points. And when white plays this Atari, you make a code. This is very light for you, and then later, you really don't mind if white wins this code at all, or just play anything, and then because white has stuff to do, white will not take the small code, and at the end you'll be able to get an eye in Sente and maybe even a code to live later, which means all the black had a lot of resources with this group, um, that black could have kept on playing big moves instead of defending and making two eyes in the middle, including this move as well, this move, um, this connecting move as well. Okay, so let's see if black played well enough to maintain the advantage that she had earlier, or was white able to, um, you know, cut corners and gain it back. In the end, white won by 4.5, so um, very unfortunate for black. And maybe some better end game, maybe one or two less defensive moves in the middle here, um, and black, may have been able to do it. Um, yeah, so very unfortunate, right? When black got a seemingly very, very good position, um, very, very good position if you counted territory. Black started playing very, very defensively, and without um, dying anywhere, Black gave up not only the lead but also allowed White to take some lead. So this kind of optimistic thinking is very dangerous. Um, I also suffer from this a lot. Um, so um, yeah, too optimistic and played a little bit too slow in the middle and not tight enough. Um, for example, here, this attach could at least for sure be played. Um, maybe like this, maybe like this, so, something. Um, so yeah, very good job early on. And again, just like the first game we saw today, a very good first fight in the game. But then when the game became complex, later in the middle game, Black started playing defensively, and um, you know, a few two defensive moves, and the game um, um, shifts back a couple points here, a couple points there, and pretty soon we are no longer winning. Okay, I hope um, in all of our games today we saw a common theme, which is um, the first fight often do not determine the winner, but the later fights in the game determine the winner, and it's very important to play with a sense of urgency. Um, when you can get away with, when one move would suffice, don't spend two moves. Um, and during the later game, it is very helpful to be very ambitious in terms of I want to get stuff in Sente. I want to get five things done instead of two things done, um, and that kind of ambitious thinking later in the game is what's gonna keep your moves from being overly soft or overly relaxed or uh, lax. Um, yeah. And anyways, so bring the tightness that you see in the Josekis in the beginning of the game and apply that to the middle and the later game when everything is uncertain, and you guys will see a very noticeable improvement in your Go. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.